of the publishing persuasion, of the publishing persuasion.
Hey.
Hello. Oh my
Arr.
God. I'm a
What's going
sweaty
on,
mess.
Melanie?
Everything, everything. Whew.
What's happening?
My period is raging. It's day two. I just got my feedback back from Sandra. And then also, we've still been having so much trouble with these neighbors. They're not out yet. They're still destroying my sleep every night, multiple times. It hasn't been great. It hasn't been great. It all takes months and months, and I don't even know what's going to happen in the end. But we're soldiering on. We have a new acupuncturist. My new acupuncturist he's like so interesting the way he does it. Like he will push points around my body and ask me like what does it hurt basically. And most of the times he's hitting like exactly what fucking hurts. And then he'll put a
Huh?
needle in and he'll be like, "What about now?" And most of the time I'm like, "Yeah, it feels fine now." It's actually
That's
wild.
wow. Yeah. That's some
I
shit right there.
he it's like the closest thing to real magic, right? Like my old acupuncturist, she kind of never she's moved too far away and I adore her, but she never really explained what she was doing and I was too much of a hot mess when I came to her to really ask. I just wanted to just have a safe space to fall apart. But this time I'm a bit more curious and like he's more chatty. And his style is completely different. She didn't do that like probing for points to check. Like he'll feel up under my rib and he'll be like, and I'll be like, yes, like he's like, what kind of pain? I'll be
Mm.
like, sharp. He'll be like, okay. And he'll put a point in my foot. He'll be like, this one's gonna hurt.
Oh,
It'll be like random, like it doesn't seem like it should. I guess the nervous system and everything, all the points, like it makes sense that, our body is like this wild, amazing system. But like the one that like blew me away last time is like, like I've mentioned on the pod that I've always suffered with, and when I was really unwell, I would have severe chest pain and go into ER from my panic attacks because it would feel like a heart attack and it would like run all the way down my body and just freak me out. And last time at the end of my session, because I've been under so much stress with all this shit, I've had chest pain again. And I mentioned it at the end of the session, and he's like, okay, he's a little bit more brusque. He'll be like, okay, he's like, but tell me like what it's like. But he's so good, I tolerate it a bit, not brusque in
yeah,
a
yeah,
rude
yeah.
way. He's just practical. He's so practical that he's not going to be like, hi, honey, how are you doing this week? How are you feeling? He's going to be like, where does it hurt? What type of pain? No, no, tell me more. Like he's trying to get to the root of the problem.
Yeah. I love people like that.
Yeah, in as for my medical professionals, that's what I want. I don't want you to be my
Yeah.
friend. I want you to do your fucking job and work
Yeah,
out what
yeah, please
you know what I
help
mean?
me.
Actually,
Yeah.
all my medical professionals now are opposite to everyone I went for in the past. They're all very practical and very results oriented, and I love it. I don't want to talk about everything. I don't want to hear about their lives. I just want them to do their job. Which I know sounds horrible, but when you're there, you're paying so much for these services. Anyway, and I said to him, this was at the end of a full session, and he was like, he's like, I mean, I thought I had mentioned it, but like I said, I don't really get it that extremely or that frequently anymore. So maybe I haven't had it since seeing him. But that day was bad. It was just like rah, 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 rah. And I mentioned at the end, and he's like, oh, he's like, so he's like where, what type of pain? And I was like trying to explain it. And he was like, okay, he kept trying to like get me to say more. And I was like, it's really hard to explain. It like radiates, it's like grabby. And then I said to him, but if I massage, it can release the pain. Like it
Mm.
always relieves a bit if I massage the area. He's like, okay, he's like, let me try something. And he put this point in, I think the point was on my hand somewhere. And he's like, wait a couple seconds. He's like, and then he came back and he's like, how does it feel now? And I was just like laughing because I was like, yeah, it's gone. Like the pain has
Wow.
dissipated like almost completely, the tension. He's like, okay, he's like, now I know what we're working with. I don't,
That's wow.
girl,
That's crazy. Like it's all your body is just so like it's all mixed in together and needs to be all in balance and it's impossible to imbalance it and like a part of your hand
Hmm.
helps ease the tension in your chest. That's
Crazy,
wild.
eh? Crazy. Because he was
Yeah.
trying to work out, was it like something with my lungs? Was it with my nervous system? Was it the muscular? Like he's trying to like mentally work out where the pain is coming from, because that'll change the point he hits. And sometimes he'll like put a point in his like, has that pain alleviated? And I'm like, nah, it's still there, and he'll change it. He's really
Mm.
meticulous about like how he does it. And I'm honestly obsessed because when I went in, I was like so burnt out from all of this stuff, and I was having fucking twitches from being woken up so many times. And I was just like a little hesitant to have a male practitioner for acupuncture because it felt really personal. And but I was like, I'll give him a
Hmm.
go. And like it had, yeah, and it's really close to me, so I can just walk there anytime. That was the problem with my old one. She's
Oh,
moved
that's
so far
nice.
away. I have to like drive an hour to see her, and it's really hard to organize it. So it's really nice to be able to go whenever, and just yeah, his way of doing it really fascinates me. So yeah, I can't recommend acupuncture enough. And now that I've actually had somebody who like shows kind of the weird connections of everything, it's really, really interesting.
That's super. Did he say like why? That's what about that is connected or
Probably he says so much, and I don't always
yeah.
get what the connection is, but in terms of my general treatment, my cooling system is faulty.
Mm.
So
Oh,
like
that's
my bodily
oh.
cooling system, and my digestion, a bunch of stuff, the way stress manifests in my body, this is basically where it affects and whatever. So by hitting these points, what he said is like he's trying to teach my body what it needs to do by manipulating these points. And
Wow.
yeah, it whatever he's doing, it's helping, honestly. Like,
That's wild. I was just
yeah.
watching this woman and she was just saying, she was on a walk and she was just saying how she's like, I don't know why I keep lying to myself about what's good for me. Like, I know it's good for me to eat healthy, to move my body, if I can. Like I know these things about my body
Mhm.
that genuinely like are good for me. And
Yeah.
yet, for some reason I keep lying to myself and saying like, "Oh, I don't need to exercise today. I'll do it later." Oh, you're tired. Like just relax, girl. Or like, "Oh, I don't need to try and have more vegetables." Like you
Hmm.
deserve, some a little snacky. She's like, "I don't know why like I keep letting myself lie about what's good." And because you mentioned digestion, and I was just
Yeah.
thinking like how often I lie to myself about what I'm eating.
I
Like,
hear
oh, it's
that.
fine. It's fine. And you're like, no, actually, like you could stand to eat a few more veggies, girl. Like it's good for you. Why don't we just do it? But for some reason, it's just so much our body, we just love comfort. We just love
Mm.
like, nah, I'd rather just have these chips. That's me every day.
I
But chips are just better.
chips. I ate a whole bag last night.
They're just
And
so
I felt
good.
so good. I made like a nice vegan pasta bake, and it was so
That was
fucking
yeah.
good. I slow roasted all these veggies, and like it was so nice, and I felt so good after it. But then because I'm on my period and my hormones are raging, I was wanted to eat the entire house. And so we there's this place called Cheaper by Miles here, which we've just started shopping at, and it's like kind of reject food, but also like stuff
Yeah.
that's like no longer in production. So it's such a
Uh-huh.
mysterious place. You can find the most random stuff. We only spent $50 and got more groceries than I could believe. It was actually wild. Anyway, they had a bunch of random chips, and I was like, well, we've got to add that. They had Suzuki chips. I was like, what?
Oh.
Like, why is this even a thing? And we got gravy chips. I haven't tried those yet, but it wasn't even that great. And we hammered the whole bag after dinner. I felt so sick after.
I know. You're like, you know what? I did a good job today. I cooked these
I
great,
cooked.
delicious food. Like,
That's it. But you're so right.
oh,
I think it's got something to do with the fact that from childhood it's been framed uh that those certain foods are the ones we that are naughty. And so it's like you're not allowed. It's like it's just a treat. And so
Hmm.
we feel the reward center gets hit when we have that stuff. One of the things I'm actually like it's yeah, you're on the you're on the money about that. I struggle with that too. I'm like, I know I'm gonna feel great if I have my bone broth and my
Yeah.
veggies and like a full complete meal. But yeah, it's like so much easier to just order curries.
Yes. Oh
And
my
like,
gosh, it is.
and then I'm
It
like,
is.
but it's, and I do the same thing. I like try to convince if I'll go through a waiver, I'm like, no, like, but Thai food is so great. It's like vegetables, rice, whatever. And I'm like, and yeah, it is, but when it's takeout Thai, it's like full of
Yeah.
oil. You know what I mean? Full of
Yeah.
sugar, full of salt.
Damn
And
it.
yeah, same with a lot of stuff we order. So, but yeah, I think that we feel like it's like a chore, another task. And in amongst all the tasks of adulting, I think sometimes food, which is meant to be so joyous and like
Hmm.
it's a luxury, like I mean not a luxury, but you know what I mean? Like it's a fun part of the day. It can be so magical to me. I'm a real food
Yes.
person. I'm like, oh, my cozy coffee. Oh, my little snacky snack. And
Yes.
I think that sometimes we tell ourselves that the other food's not good. So I'm trying to trick myself, or like it's like punishment, right? So I'm trying to trick myself into thinking what a luxury it is to be able to look after myself, which it is. It's absolutely a fucking luxury to be able to choose to eat better. Like that is a fucking
Yes.
luxury. And I try to remind myself that. And yeah, it does help to like make some better choices and get my
I know.
digestion running.
Get that digestion going.
Yeah.
I've been having more fiber in my life.
Oh my God.
And you know what? It really does make a difference though.
It really
It's so
does.
sad. This is the
No,
conversations we've come to. Like
I
this is,
know.
but it's so, it's in my face a lot lately because both of my kids and we raised them where like we didn't use food as like you can't have this, you can't have that. Like it
Mm,
was kind of like everything was always in the house and they chose what they wanted and not like go crazy on sugars or whatever,
yeah.
but they're real like my kids are really good about choosing good foods for themselves.
Mm.
But Armando and I, like if it's just us, like we're just gonna like we're bad eaters. And so now that Alicia's back home and Adrian, he's like in his fitness era too, my son. And so now it's in my face every day of like, Mom, you guys need to stop eating this. You guys need to get on this. You guys need to
Cute.
do this. And I'm like, when did this happen? And I
Mm-hmm.
can't argue with them because it's so true. I'm like,
Yeah.
but I had this today. And they're like, yeah, but what else did you have? Like, did you even drink water today? And I'm like, oh my God, who raised you monsters? Like, leave me alone. But I mean, it's freaking true and it's in my face.
I
And I
love
don't, I'm
it.
ready for her to, I'm ready for Alicia to move her ass out.
No, I'm ready for
But
Alicia
she's,
to rule the house, mate.
she is. And now she's got Adrian uh, on
Backing her
board too.
up.
Yes,
Good.
because he's in his fitness era. And so it's in my face, like eating freaking fiber and,
You know what
protein
though?
and blah, blah, blah.
When you were a kid, was it like kind of forbidden to eat those snacks? Like it was like kept from you?
Yeah, well, so my mom is she we look so different. We
Mm.
act so different. We're just very different humans. But so my mom is like taller, thin, like green-eyed, really, light-skinned, freckled. She's like really into she's like she looked like she would be on Baywatch, my mom.
Slay.
She is a Baywatch babe. Yeah. And I mean, that was how her and my stepdad met was she was an aerobics instructor at the gym and he was a
No,
bodybuilder.
really?
Yes. Oh, it was a whole scandal in the whole town. But
Oh
anyways,
my God.
yeah. So my mom's always been like thin to her is beautiful. And
Mm,
and so when I was growing up, I just naturally just have curves. Like I'm just thicker. And like no matter what I eat, unless I just don't eat, right? And that's not going to happen. But like I'm just naturally curvy because that's I guess just
mm,
how my family on my dad's side, we just are. And so food was that thing of like always, like my mom would always make sure to pack certain foods. Certain foods would not be in the
Mm.
house. It was always diet, everything. And like no
Really?
matter what, I just couldn't be the thin daughter that she was, I guess, wanting or hoping for. And so, but yeah, so I think, yeah, food and like talking about people's bodies, all of that, I'm very conscious about, like when it
Yeah.
comes to my kids, especially. Like I said, we always had everything and let them sort of choose. And, they chose well. They love their fruits and veggies and the good
Yeah.
food. Like they're just good at it, but it was never a like, don't eat this or you're going to look like this or you're going to get this because that's what I heard growing up my whole
Yeah.
life. And so yeah, food is one of those like little it's a little not touchy, but it definitely like hits some notes.
Mm.
Um, and so that's why I definitely like with my kids, I'm like, I'm never, oh, you look so thin today, or like, you know what I mean? And I'm always because there was a time for Alicia where she lost a lot of weight. She just was growing and changing,
Yeah.
and certain family members were like, "Oh my gosh, she's so thin." Her dad's side, Armando's side, they're naturally like small people.
Mm.
And so to me, I was like, yeah, that's just her body type. She's just a
Yeah.
little thing. And so when they would say that, like I took her aside and was like, okay, I know you heard what your aunt said, but like, how are you feeling about this? Like, what is this? Is this? She's like, no, mom, it's whatever. She can think what she wants. I'm like, okay, at least you're all right. Like, I just women and bodies. It seems to be the only thing that a lot of people care about, and it's
Mm.
something, watching Baywatch again, it's just bringing up memories. It's bringing them up. So
Oh
yeah,
my God.
I don't know.
Thank you for sharing that. Like honestly, it's it's something that's on my mind a lot lately, and it gives me hope for humanity hearing like how you were brought up and what you've chosen to do with it. Because you've broken the cycle of, you've broken the generational trauma for your kids. And that's why they can make that decision while you're still struggling with it. I feel actually
Yeah.
quite emotional hearing your story because, yeah, like it's relatable in terms of like, I think for a lot of us women, like growing up, our weight was so monitored, but never mind like that alone, growing up with like a parent who looked different to you and tried to enforce that beauty standard on your body is like such a mind fuck for like a child.
Mm,
Like it's such a mind fuck. And the fact you've been able to like break out of that and be like, no, I'm gonna let my kids and like just checking in, like, how are you feeling in your body though? Like, are you feeling okay? Because that creates a safe space where if she was struggling with something, she might tell you about it.
yeah.
Instead of like, yeah, I think it's one of the things that, in my feminine rage era that like I'm enraged about the constant policing of women's bodies. Like,
Hmm.
it's, and for me, I was like very slim at one point, and what I learned is you can never win with those people because they were always
Right.
policing my size. If I was like hyper skinny, I'd get picked on and it'd be like, oh, like you're so thin, like what must you do? And at the same, like I was just growing. I'm pretty tall and I sprung up like a beanpole at one point. And in fairness, at one point I was super stressed and I lost a bunch of weight from stress. And but instead of like caring about what's behind that, people would just like and at one point you'd be celebrated. People love to
Yeah.
celebrate when you've lost weight. And then they'll say other like some people won't be super direct about it if you've put on weight, but I'd have some family members, they'd like subtly like when I put on a bunch of weight, they'd be like subtly send me like exercise routines or
Uh,
like,
yeah.
healthy cooking ideas as if I'm like not aware that my body's changing and like
Hmm.
doing the best I could at that time. And the time I put on that much weight, the fucking last thing I was gonna fixate on was what my weight was because I was just trying to
Yeah.
survive day to day. But it's so
Yes.
beautiful that you've broken that cycle for your daughter because it should not the it I saw this quote the other day and I can't remember where who it was, but they were like, the least interesting thing about you is your body. And I just wish women
Damn.
could understand that the least interesting thing about you is your body. And I would, and I'm so glad I never picked a partner who was just interested in my like, and like, I'm so glad I was more of like girl next door vibe, like stereotypically, rather than like somebody who drew. Like I look at some of my friends who were just knockouts and the kind of attention they got, and just people who only saw their physicality and that was it. They didn't care who was behind it. And then you see how quickly that crumbles over time, you
Yeah.
know? Because then it's so easy to be like, what's the next thing? Because I didn't care about, I just wanted to tap that. You know what I mean? Like there was these
Yes.
beautiful girls in college who would just like get targeted and seen as like easy, easy for
Yeah.
like, of like someone that the guys could like get with. And I used to just mourn that. And again, you're so young, you don't fully understand what you're witnessing. You know what I mean? And you're like, ah,
Yeah.
maybe if I was skinnier, I'd get more attention, or if my boobs were bigger or whatever. But as an adult, I'm like, thank fuck my titties were small and I was like a mousy looking thing that with emo eyeliner. Because in the end, like I had to form like I was making friends with guys first and then they'd fall in love with my personality.
Oh, oh,
You know what I mean?
woo! Yeah,
Although
baby.
apparently my ass was noteworthy, you know? So
Oh,
there was things there still. But I'm just sorry, that's such a side quest. I digress. But I'm just saying, like, if your body is the only thing somebody's being drawn to, isn't that frightening?
yes,
Like,
it
to me,
is.
that's terrifying. So to like measure your worth on your body or your beauty alone boggles my mind. It boggles my mind.
It does. And it's yeah, because what do you do after that? What do you do when it
Yeah.
fades? And
Yeah.
like I don't know where this quote fr came from or what it who said it or where I heard it, but like I was having this discussion actually with the kids, and I was
Mm.
just kind of like, you choose your partner knowing that someday they're gonna be the ones that helps you through the loss of your parents. They're
Yeah.
gonna be the ones to hold your hand through the worst days of your life. Like those are the people like that's what you need when you choose your partner is knowing that you're gonna have somebody there to pick you up at the worst moment of your life.
Yeah.
And how good looking they are is not going to save you during that time unless that's what you really care about. Unless you're like mourning and you look over and you're like, God dang, that is a good looking man, you know? But I don't think
Surely,
that's the case.
surely, like if somebody's, I don't know about you, but for me, like beauty really is only like aesthetically pleasing, whatever. It's really skin deep in terms of like I can lose that attraction the minute someone starts to speak. And I'm like, oh, you you're nice to look at, but not very quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's some people like the moment they open their mouth and speak, I'm like their beauty becomes horrific. Hey,
Yeah. 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 You know, this is a random ass shout out, but you know Stina Hernandez? We've had
yeah,
our Stina on
love
this.
her.
Okay, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she really is.
Absolutely stunning. But she's more beautiful because of her essence. I
Yeah.
met her recently at a book festival in San Antonio. And just I did a short like when you do a double take and you're like, "Damn,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
person's
yeah.
gorgeous." And it was her and I was like, "It's freaking Stina." But she has it all. She is like gorgeous and perfect on the inside as well and you're just like, "Okay, that's it. That's an unstoppable person right there."
That is an
Like I'm just
unstoppable
like looking at
person.
that person, just her aura alone, you're just like, damn, that's
That's
sunshine in
it.
a
And
bottle.
and honestly, that's what winds up making people look beautiful to me, even through all the brainwashing of society that wants me to think that like tried to force us to think one type of beauty is what's beautiful. But like ultimately, like when I interact with people, that's what I mean. Like even if by societies and the brainwashing standards of magazines and whatever, I look at someone and I'm like, oh yeah, they look like a model or whatever. And you just, as soon as you start to talk to people, though, like some people just glow and they become just
Hmm.
like everything about them becomes beautiful and perfect to me because their energy is so beautiful and perfect. So
That's it.
yeah, I
That's
just,
it.
it honestly is so encouraging though to hear that like some people at least are having that broken because we're living in an era where once again, that standard of skinny is being jammed down everyone's throat
Yeah.
and it's being
Yeah.
portrayed as like the one bodily beauty type. And I worry for people again having to grow up in this like starve yourself culture.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It feels like we do so well as a society and we like change and we
Mm,
push what the boundaries of beauty and being good and kind and whatever it is, like we push, and then somehow we revert back to
yeah.
like that time where it was just like a mind fuck for everybody. And so it's like all this work we've been doing of like self-acceptance, self-love, and like you be who you are and you're perfect
Mm,
the way you are. It has somehow been like, oh, wait a minute, but you're probably better off if you look this way and you
yeah.
get this done and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, like we'll just keep pushing it. We'll just keep
That's
going
it.
and you know but I always worry for that next younger generation who is looking and
Mm.
seeing, but you know I hopefully listen to your older sisters, your aunties over here, like
Don't
you're
listen
you're
to your
perfect.
aunties.
Oh yeah,
Listen
well,
to the
not those
people who
aunties.
celebrate like you as a person and like yeah, what I will say is in spite of everything, I do think we live in a time where, maybe in the past people like society could get away with pushing that without much like kickback. I think
Yeah,
there's a lot of kickback now. And I live to see it. Like I think most of us aren't going to just sit here and have that jammed down our throat again, you know?
like we've been through it, we're not doing it
That's
again.
it.
Yeah,
Like, I
we're
don't know
not
if I'll
bringing
cut
those
this
low
out because
low
I don't
rise
know.
jeans.
That's, I bought a pair of low-rise jeans.
Did you recently?
Yeah, it's come back. I don't know what it's like over there, but in Australia,
Yeah, oh
wide
yeah.
legs are back. And honestly, my little emo 2000 heart rejoiced. I was so glad to throw my skinny jeans away. I never wanted
Oh
it.
yeah.
The low rise
Yeah.
isn't my fave though. I would like a little more height, but the wide leg is giving me everything I need.
Yes. We love that. We love that. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, how's your eye doing? Is it okay
Good.
now?
Yeah, I went to the doctor and they had to scrape out stuff. Yes, I had stuff in my eye from when I was mowing. It got stuck in my eye. So it was like in my eyelid at first and then it moved down onto my eye and she was like, "Yeah, good thing you came. Like
See?
this would have been really bad." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." So yeah, they saw me the same day. So I pretty much sent in a picture of what was in my eye and they were like, "Get over here. What are you doing?" And so yes, I was on antibiotics and everything, but we're fine. So thank you for forcing that on me. Yes.
I want to say I told you so, but I also do.
Yes. Yeah, you did. You did.
Because
Well, I'm just
listeners,
so like lazy, you know?
listeners, this little bit tray here was on the podcast. You'll see. I'm editing that episode now. Or did I just drop that one? Just like squinting away. And I was like, what's going on, mate? Like, are you high? She's like, no, I have shrapnel in my eye from the mower. And I was like, have you been to the doctor? And she's like, nah, it'll be fine. And I was like, you can see shrapnel in your eye. Please go at once to the doctor. Okay?
It's true. So thank you. Thank you for forcing that upon me. Yes, she had to scrape my eye clean. We're back at it. Can see clearly again. So thank you.
Yeah, well, like as great as you would have looked with an eye patch, I would have wanted that to be
I
a
know.
decision you make without force, you know? I'll have your
Yeah, I
eye
appreciate
rot
that.
out of your head.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we don't need that. That's true. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We're back. The eye is good.
Yeah.
Okay, are we open to talking about your notes that you got back?
Oh my God. That was the other thing I was gonna say. Yeah, like I was in the depths of despair. I've been humbled. No,
Oh
I'm not in
no.
the depths of despair at all. I've been humbled. I've been humbled.
Oh no.
Because as you know, I was like on cloud nine and feeling like my graphic novel was just perfect and it was going to be a bestseller tomorrow. And I just got my feedback from Sandra and it still needs work. But not just it needs work, like she loves it. She really loves it. She
Okay.
doesn't have many
Good.
notes on what I've submitted to her. But once again, I've made a rookie mistake and I, like in one of my homework sheets, I hyperfixated on the word count. And so I aimed for what that article said instead of thinking about page number. So I like need like another like I don't know, double the pages I have right now.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I was humbled a bit because as you know, I was just thinking I'd fucking hit it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it still needs work. I still need to like tap away at that, which is fine. That's just part of this journey. And I was getting a bit too
It
cocky
is.
anyway, you know?
Oh, you needed a humbling. I mean, this is a new thing that you're learning and sort of like figuring out. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just trying to give myself the grace to be wrong, to have to redo some stuff. But ultimately Sandra's obsessed with like the voice and the story. Like she seems to genuinely love that. So that's what
good.
matters. Um, but yeah, I will keep tapping away and
Yeah. Well, and I think getting to know Barbara too and all of this like her genius, her mind and like everything she knows about the industry, I think will be really, really good for you. And so
I think so
pick that
too.
brain.
And for the record, I almost cried a few times because I don't think it was just by accident that we suddenly had a graphic novel writer as a guest. So I'm like way too hormonal for you to have done that. You're always looking out for me, and I always notice, by the way. So I'm gonna fucking cry because I had no idea she was a graphic novel writer until we were chatting. And I was like, of course, my guardian spirit, Angela, is like fucking networking for me behind the scenes. So I can't even fucking deal with you on these hormones right now. Okay?
Stop, because
I'm
you're gonna
gonna
make
lose
me
my
start
shit.
crying too.
I
Yeah.
meant to say that straight away. And then we got started on how the patriarchy was oppressing our bodies again. So anyway,
Well, yes. Well, because I love you and I just want to see you get to wherever the hell you want to get to. And
thank you.
so I've been seeing Barbara do it. And so I'm like, oh, this is a killer connection. I think that would be so valuable. So
I almost
yeah.
cried the whole way through because I knew that's exactly what you'd done. And I just fucking adore you. And yeah, we better read the bio. But I love
Yes.
you. I love you. And I
Love you
almost
too.
cried all episode every time I thought of it. I'm gonna cry again. So just read the bio. I'm
Okay,
useless.
I'll read the
I'm a
bio. I
hormonal
will read the
mess.
bio. Okay. Barbara Perez Marquez was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. Now she lives in the USA. She holds an MFA in creative writing and writes short and long form fiction. During her career, she has also been an editor, translator, and even a sensitivity reader for several publications and projects. Her work was first featured in a student collection in the seventh grade, which inspired her desire to become a writer. Since then, she's been featured in a number of literary journals as well as anthologies. You can find her among the creators behind The Cardboard Kingdom, the Eisner-nominated graphic novel series about a neighborhood of kids having amazing adventures with cardboard. Her next two graphic novels, To Dance the Moon and Stars with Joy Revolution and The Library of Memories with Little Brown Ink, are out in 2026.
Hot. She's amazing. I could listen to her chat all day. I'm literally going to slide into her DMs before I like restructure things too much. I actually want to pick her brain because she did mention like the lack of rules around these kinds of things. So I'm gonna pick her brain, ask about word count, ask about page number. She is a goddess and she has such a fascinating story. And yeah, honestly, I'm gonna have to get that book. So
Yeah,
can't wait for
I
everyone to
know.
hear what she has to say because yeah, just a true natural conversationalist, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we were just enjoying the Barbara ride.
She needs her own podcast, honestly. Like, I was just
I
like,
think
can I just
so.
listen to you talk about graphic novels and comic books all day
There you go.
and
Get that
get
coffee.
this
Hello,
straight?
hello.
Hi.
Hello. Barbara, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for honestly for joining us. I've ever since I've seen your work and the covers and everything, I've been like, okay, we got to chat to Barbara. We got to know what's going on. We got to get nosy here. So thank you for joining us.
Of course, of course.
Well, the recording button is already on.
Great.
Thank you for
We're just gonna
checking.
get, yeah, yeah. We're just gonna get right into it and just be nosy and,
Great.
and learn all your personal um
I love
business.
sharing about myself. I've always sort of said it's like, well, what's an author if not an open book? So I'm like ready. I'm like, please ask me my weird facts. I will share them.
Yes,
Good.
that's exactly what I want to know. I was going to ask you, what's the strangest thing you own? I'm going to get to that. Is that the world rotating behind you and glowing?
It's like a weird little galaxy planet thing, and then it's got like colored lights, so it's always on. And it turns off at 8 o'clock, so it might turn off on us, I think. Who could say? Because I don't know when I
Ah,
set up the timer for it. But usually it's part of my like I'm on and I'm thinking of things and I'm imagining things, and then it turns off when I'm going to sleep.
I love that. So is that like part of your like creative sort of like routine is like, okay, this magical sphere needs to be on and
The light
I'm
is
ready to
on.
go.
The light is on. I must be on too. A little bit. I think it's just a good reminder to sort of like respect the writing time too. I
Mm,
think, when I started sort of getting into writing and sort of building that discipline, there's always that like you must write every day. And I was like, that can't be true. But what really I came to learn was that it was more about creating your own discipline out of it. And I
mm,
think for me, as I sort of built sort of the space that I work out of these days, it was important to sort of set up like when is the office a space where I'm like, just let me create, let me write, let me see what I can do, whether that means I write one word or 100, um, and sort of like delineating that somehow because sometimes I just want the space to be fun. I mean, yeah, like this is one of the things you can see, but like right behind me in the camera, it's like full of tchotchkes, which is why, Melanie, your question about the strangest thing, I was like, which one do you want to see? I
all of
was
them.
like, I figured I'd show you one. Uh, get in here on the front of my desk here. This is, I'm not about to show you a museum artifact, okay? Please be warned. But my spouse remade me this Netsuke from the Walters Museum here in Baltimore. It's a fat swallow from Japan. And it's 3D printed, and he's just a little guy, and he just stares at me while I write. So again, building a lot of like accountabilities is really what this is about.
That's adorable though.
Adorable.
Yeah, he's just a little guy, and then he's got his feet painted.
Oh
So
my,
Oh
you are
my
loved.
God.
I know, I really am. I love my spouse. That's why they get all the books dedicated to them. I'm like, you're so
Oh,
lucky.
really?
You're so lucky. It's like you're the person that the books go out to.
Rightly so. I mean, who else
Yeah,
is gonna make you a chubby sparrow?
Yeah.
Like to sit
exactly.
on your desk?
I feel like Angela, you sent me an angry chubby sparrow. Now that I think of it,
Oh,
it's actually it's watching me from the window. So yes, you did. I don't know if it's a sparrow, but it's very maybe it's a good luck omen, a chunky
I think
sparrow.
so. I think everybody should get chunky sparrows, and then we'll see where that lands us. So
You know what? The world would be better for it, I think. I
I
that's
think
true.
that,
agree.
spread the love.
There's something very gleeful about robust animals, like they're just
Yes.
living their best life, like now suddenly I feel like I'm gonna go down a capybara real
No, no, go on.
thing
Go
again.
on.
No, this side quest has no end. So I'm gonna ask you, what is something you think about way too often?
Oh, capybaras are pretty up
Yes.
there on the list, I would say. I think everybody should be thinking more about them. But I mean, I also think about what I want to tell next. I'm always thinking
Mm.
about like, going back to what I was saying about like, oh, like what does that practice actually look like? Do I actually write every time? Like, are you all always like burning memory in the back of your brain? When you're like,
Basically.
you're not actively telling a story, you're not even working on something, or you are working on something. And then on the back of your brain, there's like 10% of your brain that's always like hot to the touch because you're like, what are you thinking about back there, buddy? And it's
Yes.
like, it's just like the story engine. It's just always thinking about that. And I'm always looking for ways to like, not that I'm that author that's always like, I'm going to put this in my next book. But, right, there's this conversion that happens from life to story. And it's like, how am I like, like seeing that process go from one to the other? So I'm always kind of thinking about that. And just like all the lovely ways that those stories sort of live on. I think that there's like a real like part of it, kind of like I was saying, like with my spouse, it's like the book's God dedicated to you. And it's like because all of these stories that I'm telling are just like, how do I give back to the stories that are happening to me or like the things that I'm thinking about or what I want to say? And like I think that that's where like a lot of my writing it's like doing that.
Yeah, that's beautiful,
Mhm.
honestly. And
Thanks.
I love the way your brain works. Do you find, and I find this for myself too, is like like when you are with humans, your brain sometimes shuts off because it's busy working in the
Yeah.
background of like thinking about, oh wait, what about this story idea? Like, do
Yeah.
your humans ever be like, are you even paying attention to me?
Yeah, absolutely. They're like, are you here or are you back at your desk?" I'm like, "I'm back at my desk." Or I am unfortunately not like the best co-pilot anymore because these days I'll be like on my phone, like tick, 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 like putting down notes. I'm like, and like, don't I do that thing where like, don't talk to me. I have this idea that's flowing out of me, and you must wait for it to finish.
I'm the
I
same
love it.
though. Like, don't catch me mid-idea because I'll be a demon. Like,
Yes.
if I do not get it out, I will never remember what was
Yeah.
steaming away. It'll be gone. So, that's valid.
Yes.
I think that's
We
valid.
gotta respect the process. Exactly. It's like it's
Yeah.
flowing out of me. You must let it flow. Let it finish.
Yeah. Okay,
It's
side
true.
question. Now that I'm like listening to your process and everything, like, is there
Yeah.
something like, because you sound like such an observer and like do you like listen to little conversations out like when you're about and like mentally tuck that away? Or like, what's an example of something that you'd like see or hear and be like tucking that away?
Yes. I mean, the coffee shop writing, I don't know how anybody else feels, and I don't know how anybody else does it, but I cannot co-work in public. Like I pretend to co-work really well,
Mm,
but I'm mostly just like attuned to like what is the next person over talking about. And I'll write like a sentence or two that I'll hear from their conversation and try to fill around it. And those are great exercises when I'm pretending to co-work because my friend has been like, "You must stop telling me stories. I actually need to send this email." And I'm like, "Right, of course. Let me let you do your thing." So
Let me let you do what you're supposed to be doing over here right
yeah,
this
yeah,
moment.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I was like, "Right, of course."
that's
Yeah.
tough.
It's tough being a writer. I think it's tough being an author because you're like, we our job is so like quiet and isolated that like the moment you put us next to someone, we're like, hello, like, can I talk to you about everything and nothing at all and capybaras and like chubby animals? Like we could we could do this all day. It's like,
We're
but
very layered, you know? We've
yeah.
got all sorts of things going on. I love it. That's so cute. Okay, well, obviously you have a writer's brain. Like that is very clear that that's where your mind is. But were you always like that? Like, did you always know you wanted to be a storyteller?
I think I became and found out that I was a storyteller while sort of searching for that meaning. Because I was like I want to be a ballerina and I want to be a firefighter for a long while, even though I'm not particularly athletic. I have asthma. I wasn't gonna pass. I don't know. That was a very short-lived dream. But I was also a very reluctant reader which I think it's like really important to acknowledge. I think like often we're thinking about it's like, oh, you're a writer, you read so much, and then it's like, yeah, and I do now, but I was not hacking it and like reading levels and like I just hadn't found like what was working for me. And when I first sort of found those first few books that finally hooked me, that finally was like, oh, this is engaging something in me,
Mm.
that sort of flowed out into like imagination and sort of like make believe. I'd always been as a kid that was sort of my favorite way to play. Like put on a sheet, pretend to be a superhero, pretend to be a vampire. We did a lot of vampire, my sister and I, of like close all the windows and shades. We grew up in the Caribbean. Very important that this was helping us because it was keeping the sun out. Uh and we would sort of like put all these like capes on and like like Dracula all the way all over our bedrooms. But I think eventually sort of that building block of finding those reading uh touchstones for myself led to writing
Mm.
stories. I was writing sort of like fan fiction. I wrote a ton of fan fiction before I was like a proper like original author or whatever. Um and telling those stories and having that sort of like avenue to explore that imagination landscape was really what cemented the like, oh, I could do this. Like
Mm.
this is a thing that people do. Like these people on these books, on these covers are like, this is what they do, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I freaking love that. Okay, were you the oldest sibling or what
I
where are you
am.
in the
I'm
line?
the
Okay.
oldest of two. So my
Were you in
sisters
charge of the story?
I was to to my sisters. I'm still paying for that, I think, as older siblings. Yeah, I was sort of dictating. It's like this is what we're doing, and this is how we're doing it, and like this is how it goes. And like you just have to come with. You're a
Yeah.
secondary character, you just have to live with it, you know?
That tracks. That tracks
Yeah.
for sure. Yes, bless older siblings and more so bless younger siblings for putting up with us. Okay,
Truly.
what sort of fanfic were you like
Yeah.
into? Like what were
Oh,
you
juicy.
obsessing over?
Juicy. Yeah, you two really are like digging in deep. Well, I grew up with a lot of so right, I was growing up in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic. It's a lot of their media from Latin American translations, and that means we got a lot of like American media. So I grew up sort of watching Teen Titans and Yu-Gi-Oh, like all of these sort of animated shows. And that was sort of my first foray into things of like these characters are so fun, they're so layered, especially with comics, right? Something like a show like Teen Titans, like we're talking like DC Comics, like some of the more like staple names of like these like storied characters.
Mm.
Um, and I think superheroes lend themselves so well to be like, and now I'm in a makeup. What happens to them? And I think that sort of springboarded me there.
Mm.
And then, I was raised Catholic, even though I'm not practicing anymore. Don't let my mom hear that. But I did a lot of wicked fan fiction. I was sort of
Oh,
known for that, and like my spouse, we're gonna talk about them a lot here today, I guess. Like we fell in love because they found my fanfic. I actually have like this very like romantic like
Oh,
I was writing fan fiction on the internet and my spouse liked it, and it's like one of the
stop
top
it.
stories we tell. Yeah.
You stop it right now.
I can't
That is
cope
the
with this information.
We can change the
no.
topic of the podcast. Just throw away
No.
the rest of the
Yes, this is
questions.
it.
I can tell you more.
Yes,
I
please.
really want to hear more.
So I once upon a time I was actively writing like wicked fan fictions and again, we may confess ourselves on the internet. Gelfie supremacy. Elphaba and Glinda are made to be with each other. I don't know what anyone is saying about anything else.
Correct.
Exact. Thank you. Thank you. I knew I wasn't good company. I understand.
It's absolutely correct. And anyone who
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
otherwise is not seeing with the eyes in their head.
Exactly. Thank you. So I was doing this fan fictions and this was in a time where Tumblr was still sort of in its it's heyday. I think it's having perhaps another heyday, but back when it was on its first go around of like everybody's on Tumblr, we all want to be on Tumblr. And yeah, through the serendipities of the internet, my spouse found my fanfic, left a nice comment being like, "This is cool, keep it going." And I'm like, "That's nice." And yeah, we kind of sort of, the internet, right? You pass each other like ships in the night, and you're like, "Okay, whatever, like this happens." And then this web series, I don't know if y'all are familiar with the web series Carmilla, which was based on the short story Carmilla, but it
Mm,
imagined them as like college students in this sort of like spooky college. And it was like
love.
vlog, like it was like a sort of like a YouTube vlog style. So very fun. Highly recommend if you're still looking for like that 2000s nostalgia of like what was with the media that we were making. And my spouse is an illustrator, so they happened to do a fan art of that series, which I found, which I was like, "Hey, I really dig this art." It
No
gets crazier.
way.
It gets
No
crazier,
way.
Angela. Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
not, I
God.
swear. And my spouse was like, "Oh my God, I think this is a really cool author, this writer that I've read their fanfic. This is so cool." And they send me a note, like a little messenger. There's like a message system on Tumblr, and my notes were open. So we started chatting. And, fast forward, two strangers on the internet fell in love to fandom, got
Oh,
married, like we lived together, and
oh my God.
happily ever after. Like that's pretty cool. I think we
Oh
should
my
we should keep the internet
God.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
This is the one
obsessed
good
with
thing about the
this.
internet.
Fandom love is powerful. Like if
It
you have the
truly is.
same fandoms, it's like a very good sign, you know?
Yeah.
That
This
is
is
so
the
freaking
cutest thing.
sweet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now you've got
Chunky
chuggy
sparrows.
sparrows for all of us
Yeah.
to enjoy. Oh my
Exactly.
God.
Isn't that so lovely? And then this story,
Yes.
in at parties, I can't leave my spouse alone anymore because I'll go, I'm just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a drink or whatever." Like I'll go over there and I'll come back and I'll find them telling this story. And I'm like, "Did you already break the?" It's like, "You're ruining my mystery as an author." Like I'm like, "Ah, okay, fine."
Turns out you're the
Adorable.
sweetest humans on the earth is what I've learned so far.
Correct.
Oh, my heart cannot handle this. This is the cutest thing. Okay, so how do we go from, falling in love with fanfic through fanfic and all of it to
Yeah.
becoming an author with all of these books? Like, what was the journey for you?
A lot of trying and writing and still doing it. So right somewhere along the way of the fanfic, I'm like, okay, I can do this. People write. People are writers. I was very quickly realizing that I was not going to be a firefighter. I was not going to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, which is what my mom would have preferred. And I was like, I need to do something. So around that time, right, I was finishing high school and I committed. I was like, I'm gonna go study writing. I was like, I need to go to school for writing. That was like sort of pursuing my education. Higher education was really important to my mom. And I was like, yeah, like people go to college for writing. I can do that. And so I ended up in a sort of like I stayed an extra year and a half in college and completed my MFA, which was really great. But all throughout there, again, somebody that was really into animation, into fandom, into all of these like nerdy things, I got sort of exposed and I'd made friends with a lot of illustrators, a lot of like budding comic artists, and they would let me tag along to the nerdy things, right? The comic cons, the like indie like press expos. And I sort of nurtured this love for like, oh my God, like people can make zines and they can make their own little comics, and this isn't fandom, but they're like such like sweet contained stories. Like I want more of this. And similarly to realizing that people did the writing, the light bulb came on. I was like, somebody's writing the comics. So, again, through the magic of the internet, RIP Twitter. There was a call out for stories for a back then we thought it was going to be sort of an anthology format to it, but this illustrator called Chat Cell was putting out a call. He's like I'm looking for stories to put in this shared sort of universe that I'm imagining, right? So he had this idea for what would then become the Cardboard Kingdom. And I was very familiar with that, right? Like this idea of like a sandbox universe that we were all writing within, that
Mm.
we were all like
Cool.
carrying characters in and sort of told our own stories that sort of intermingled with each other. And, like that sort of went through its like ideation phases of like, do we go independent, right? Do we self-publish this? Do we do the crowdfunding of it all? Because at that point is when that sort of those first few years of like people finding success in crowdfunding, and people are still finding success, but it was still early, like very early on the days of like, is this a thing that we could do for a while? And I thought I was going to stay indie for a very long time. For a while there, I was like, surely this is where I'm at, right? Like a newer voice. I don't know what I want to do. I was sort of like in between of like, do I go full in on my prose right now, or do I follow this like new budding idea of like writing comics? And I sort of never looked back. Carver Kingdom had such wonderful, astounding success in the middle grade space. I met so many lovely, lovely people in the comics community, and I just kept writing for comics. I think there's like an immediacy to it in the same way that fanfic, you get to skip the like a lot of the process bits. You're like, the
Mm.
characters are already here. I
Mm.
can just hit the ground running. And so for independent comics, there was a lot of that. The scripts, I was like, I could make a shorter script, send it off. We'll make something of it. So I was like hopping around anthologies for a bit. And then in 2019, I was working in higher education, which was sort of where I ended up professionally. I was like, finished my MFA. I was like super unsure if I was going to go into publishing, like as a job or whatever. Fell in love with my then sort of right partner, now spouse, and I moved, and I ended up sort of moving away from New York. And I was like, well, I have to go be an adult. There goes that dream, right? Like I'll do it on the sidelines. And I was working in higher education, and then in 2019, I was like writing my little emails, enjoying my little like job, and then being like, this isn't what I want to do. Like where is the writing? Like where is the writer that I wanted to be, that storyteller that I'd sort of nurtured or found myself being? And I was like, I told my spouse, I was like, give me a year. Like, would you give
Mm.
me like 6 months to try to figure this out? And I wrote a pitch for a graphic novel, like an original middle grade graphic novel, and ended up with an agent. And then we've been pitching stories since then. And now I have this like incredible catalog of like incredible collaborators and like 10 years of like publishing and like accolades and like this cool podcast. Like it's like crazy to think that it all started because I was like, but what if I take these little like dolls and like put them in situations? So
Yeah, love it
I
here.
I'm obsessed with everything. Like honestly, you're again like I can tell you're a storyteller because I'm just enthralled by listening to you
thank
tell
you.
your stories and yeah, I recently just did a graphic novel script writing course, so I can
Hmm.
really resonate with that feeling of being like, wait, like I said to Angela a couple weeks ago, like I think I just want to do this. The way my brain works, I
It's
find it
different.
easier to navigate a small script like that and to flesh it out properly. So it's really
Hmm.
exciting to hear that somebody felt the same and was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make the career this.
Yeah,
Because
and I
yeah,
think that there's like that path of least resistance again, like when you think
yeah.
about like what is it that we do and how we do it, it's like whatever gets the words out of my brain into a page, it's a success, you know?
Mm.
If it's a note on my phone, if it's a script that needs to be fleshed out into a novel, like that, I think that that's where a lot of that sort of like, and you just keep doing it. until it feels easier or it doesn't get easier, but then suddenly you're like 10 books in, right?
Damn, that's good. I just got chills just thinking about it. Like just getting the story out. What's like the process for submitting like a graphic novel or a comic? Like what is the process for you when it comes
Yeah.
to like getting the idea and writing it? How does that work?
Well, the one thing that I was also sort of surprised when I sort of was like, I'm gonna go into comics was how cool I was with the idea of being an adult in like constant group projects.
Uh-huh.
Because writing comics, right? We still need the art, we still need the editor involved. It's
Mm.
a group project, and I did not thrive as a type A person in group projects in school. I can tell you that much. But in comics, I was like, I'm happy to be part of this machination. Um, so there is this like bit of like this feels a little like cutting the line because
Mm.
with a pitch for a graphic novel, I'm able to sort of put a packet together either with a collaborator that I'm already sort of committed to do the art with, or I'm preparing this pretty succinct file against when you think about like the manuscript of a finished novel, like and
Mm.
being like, and you just let me tell the story and like it's gonna look great. You just have to believe me. Um, so yeah, so that is like one part of it, this pitch aspect that is very different than what I was expecting because I was coming from that prose sort of like very like traditional publishing sphere where I was like, I'm ready. I'm gonna write a script. And then suddenly, when I was like sort of gathering information about comics, they were like, oh no, we need like 2 pages of like the idea, what it's like, how long is it gonna be, and like, oh, we want to see some art of what it's gonna look like. And I was like, oh, I can do that. I can probably do that. I can probably, convince my friend to like do some art with me and like maybe we get a book deal out of it. Um, but it's about nurturing. There's a lot of like nurturing your voice and like what kind of stories you want to be telling. That's what I've found out that is very different with like
Mm.
that traditional publishing process. Because if I was writing a manuscript, right, like that manuscript is like not just your baby, but it's like it like represents you, it represents the voice, it represents the story you're telling. With comics, what I've already written is more so what's representing me. It's the
Mm.
like I can demonstrate I can work in a team. I can demonstrate that I take editorial really well, like editorial notes really well. And I can demonstrate that I can bring something to the art of creating comics that you've never considered or seen from somebody else. Um, but beyond that, the machinations are very similar, right? There's a lot of debate whether do you need an agent, do you not need an agent, which happens a lot in traditional publishing. There's a lot of like there's many publishers and depends on what kind of story you're telling, who you're sort of sending it to. I think that there is certainly a little more not harder, but like it's a different art to reach an editor. I think with publishing, we've sort of like figured out like if you need to reach an editor, here are the ways that you can reach an editor. There's the manuscript wish list, there's the publishers weekly of it all. There's the like they do open calls, whatever it may be. With publishers and comics, those editors have some buying power in the same capacity, but they might be a little more elusive to reach because they have other projects they're pursuing. Their list is much smaller of what they can actually buy and acquire and sort of push forward.
Mm.
And on top of all that, you're sort of fighting with all of this like wonderful, amazing talent that's out there. That it's like, well, why would they spend 3 years on you when they could spend 3 years on this other person? And
Mm.
that's the other part of it. Much longer. That I think that's like the one thing that's like, well, if I was writing prose, I would sort of off like put that 3 year first because you already spent it writing the manuscript and then it's sort of out. Because comics is sort of backwards in that pitching way, the stuff that comes out that is really exciting and like I'm like, let's get it out there, let's get it out there. Chances are I've written it like 3 or 4 years ago
Mm.
because most of the work happened with the art, happened with the revisions, happened with like making the final pages. So there's a little bit of a lag there that sometimes I have to train myself. I was like, right, it's time to be actually excited for this because I was excited about it 3 years ago. So, so there's definitely that.
I'm
Okay.
fascinated by everything you're saying. I want to know, is there something that's like surprised you along this journey?
That surprised me. One thing that I always, even to this day, I spoke a little bit about being that like type A person of it all. I was expecting much more structure. I think that there was a
Mm,
little bit of me that's like, well, traditional publishing, I need an agent and I need a manuscript and I need these steps and I need this query tracker, da 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 da. Like there was much more tangible steps to me. And then when I got to comics, which Melanie, you might have sort of discovered very quickly when you were working on that script, is that there's no rules. The
mm,
script we all have an idea of what the comic script should look like, what it should serve, and what it should be for. But
mm,
beyond that, there's no like standardized comic script. There's no one way to get it published, right? Like I said, there's like all these avenues. We haven't even touched the idea of like self-published comics, which is its own like ecosystem on top of web comics, if y'all are familiar with like that whole
mm,
like huge engine. Like there's just like so much like evolution in the different fields that it's like they're on top of each other and they're weaving together. And I think it's sort of not like bleeding into, but again, those like similarities and differences with traditional publishing, it's so interesting to navigate for me. But
mm.
I think surprising was definitely the like every time I would be like, okay, like somebody teach me how to do it. And they're like, there's nothing to teach you. Just do it. Like just write it. Like, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what give me a 3 act structure, give me a hero's journey, like whatever. Like all these things that
Mm,
I was so used to the idea of like this is how you make a good like manuscript or this is how you write a novel. With comics, the length can vary greatly depending on your purpose.
mm,
The formatting can change from writer to writer, even though we're all doing the same thing. Where our job is to like delineate what's happening in the panels and to write the dialogue, and then everything else is up to the artist, right? Um, so yeah, so that formatting was like really tricky for me because it creates. I think it's not dissimilar to the like blank page fear. It was
Hmm.
like, what do you mean? I can make my own rules? Like I don't want to. Do I dare make my own rules, right?
There's
So
so much to it that I've never even thought about. Like, and yeah,
mm.
it feels like freedom, but also like confusing freedom because you're like, wait, I'm actually free. What do I do with all this freedom? What do I do here?
yeah.
Okay. That's honestly really, really interesting and like very, very cool to learn behind the scenes because I'm not in that world, but it's so fascinating, honestly. But okay, I
Mhm.
see that you have two books coming out this year. One
Yes.
with Joy Rev, which the
Yes.
cover, like every single time I see that cover, I faint. But can you tell our listeners about these two books?
Absolutely. So yeah, so the first book comes out as of this recording a week.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Again, like being excited about this book again. I'm like, right. Oh my God, yes. It is called To Dance the Moon and Stars. Is co-written by myself alongside Tasia MS, who's the illustrator and co-writer. She
cool.
is an astonishing illustrator. I mean, yes, like to your point, the cover is like gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Oh my
Sheesh. Every time.
God.
Yes, and it's like the cover is just like Tasia in her element, and then she went and like did a whole book full of it, right? It's like whoosh, like just full of amazingness. It is about Mira, who is a high priestess in training, and she lives in a kingdom where dance is prohibited. And you're not gonna believe it, dance is the only thing she wants to do with her life. So she's sort of stuck in the middle of like, what does it mean to fulfill her duty?
Mm,
Or pursuing this dream of hers. And alongside her journey, we also meet Aiden, who's the crown prince, who's just returned to the capital city where they all live after sort of being sent away to learn how to be like how to be ready to be the prince, and
mm,
take over the ruling of this kingdom. And they fall in love. Along the way, they're gonna fight some demons, whether those are personal or otherworldly, we'll find out. but it is a romantasy graphic novel, which Angela, I think you know, thinking about that, like the idea of like these two worlds, like the traditional publishing and like the prose world and the comics world, sometimes feel so far apart from each other. But like this book is sort of daring to like merge the two. Like I think
Mm.
there's plenty of romance graphic novels, there's plenty of fantasy graphic novels, and there's probably even some romantasies. But this book is sort of looking at prose style romantasy and saying like, here's what else we could do with this. And I think that that's really exciting and really fun.
That's so
Um,
cool.
it's so fun. I love the Team Majora Revolution. They've been so supportive with like again, this like crazy idea of like bringing like graphic novel to this like amazing genre because I think people are I think it's gonna like a lot of the like the early impressions have sort of hit it in the head about like this opens up that imagination that
Mm.
like let me show you the world like that sometimes in writing I'm like I want to show you the world but like there's only so many words that I can put in this book kind of thing and I
Yeah.
think comics get to do it in so many layers because it's not just like what they're saying and what they're doing but it's like what's happening in the background, what kind of world build information was I able to give you through those things. um
So
so it's really
exciting.
lovely. Comes out July 14th. That's like it's
Amazing.
amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
Ugh,
Tasia's
I'm so
lovely.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm
So
so freaking excited, honestly. I'm so excited. I saw Bria a couple months back and she was like, "Oh, do you want me to send you a copy?" And I have yet to see that copy, Bria. So I've been
uh-oh.
looking. I guess I'm gonna just
Uh-oh.
buy it myself, but it's okay.
Well, you know, a very lovely way that we're celebrating To Dance the Moon and Stars. I'm gonna head over to San Diego Comic-Con and we're hoping to have an event in Los Angeles. So I don't know if people want to hang out, they can find me in the West Coast, which is not very, very usual because I have not been to the West Coast since 2019. So, maybe we can make something
Okay.
happen.
Yes, you're gonna grace us with your presence. I'm so excited about this. Okay, I see we're down to like our last minute and a half. So I just want to make that clear because this is a shame and should be illegal.
We can do another
But
one.
yeah.
We can stay
Yeah,
long. It's fine.
yeah, for sure. We're gonna just have you keep coming on for
I
every
think
graphic
so.
novel that you have out because this is
I'm
so
happy with it.
exciting. I'm honestly so pumped about this book. It's stunning, and I can't wait to read the words inside and see the pictures inside or the
Yeah.
artwork inside. Oh my gosh, I'm so pumped. Okay, yeah, well, we're down to a minute. I don't even know what to ask you. I guess, what do you got planned? Like, are you okay, you're going on a world tour? Or are you just going to LA?
So I'm gonna be in San Diego Comic-Con. So I'll be in San Diego, and then I'm gonna be in LA for a little bit, and then I come back
Mm.
to the East Coast. I'm gonna be locally in Baltimore. I'm gonna have an event right before I leave for San Diego, and then I'll be
Awesome.
up and down the East Coast. But I mean, if people want to see me, they can invite me places. I love being invited to
Period.
things. So
Good. You heard that here, everybody.
Yeah.
Invite
yeah,
Barbara everywhere.
please,
Barbara, thank you so much for joining us. I'm so
thank you.
freaking excited. I hope you can feel my excitement from the
Yes.
internet.
Yeah, and you both are so lovely. So please invite me back. I love talking, as we can attest.
And
Absolutely.
we
I'm
love
gonna
you
need
for
to
love
pick your
talking.
brain more as well because everything you've
Yeah.
said is everything I needed to hear. And yeah, it's really exciting to hear it from somebody who's been in the world for a while. And yeah, we're cheering so hard for you. It is going to cut us off any second, but yeah, honestly, thank you so much for sharing.
Of the publishing persuasion, of the publishing persuasion.